Flylady Diane here. I promised you a few days ago that I would do a little question and answer session, and I hope that you are dressed to shoes. I've got my indoor shoes on, there you go. And I hope that your morning routine is done or your evening routine is done when you're watching this. You might want to get a cup of coffee, a glass of water. I'm not quite sure how long this is going to take. I'm going to try and keep it fairly short. And a little disclaimer before I start. I do not have the answer to everything. Even though I would like to think that myself, I don't have the answer to everything. If you are looking for general Flylady advice, go to flylady.net. There's tons of information on the website. Just remember, if you look on anything on the computer or on your telephone or on your tablet, please make sure that you set a timer, our trusty timer, because you know what happens, we think, I'm just going to Google that recipe or look up something on Pinterest, and 3 hours later you're still sitting there wondering why you're not getting anything done and you're not getting anything accomplished. So if you have any general things, look on the Flylady website, flylady.net. And the other thing I was going to say is, if you find that you've got lots and lots of questions, you may need a Flylady mentor. And I'm not pushing Flylady Premium, but you know, I'm one of the mentors at Flylady Premium, and some of our ladies want a little more hand holding, you know, like I hold your hand through the 31 baby steps. If you need that kind of support, go ahead and get a Flylady mentor. You may just need a mentor for a month. You may want to set larger goals, you know, and I've been working with ladies on business stuff, home stuff, family, it can be anything. So FlyladyPremium.com, you can sign up for a mentor there. And if you're asking a lot of questions, it can also be that you are a bit of a rebel and you're trying to get out of doing stuff. You know, I like one of the typical questions that people always ask is, how much time should I spend on the missions, or how much time should I spend, you know, in the zone this week? And I can tell you right off, you spend the amount of time that you've got available, because it's like saying, how long is a piece of string? You know, I could say to you, go and do 5 missions and they should each last 10 minutes or 15 minutes. But you know what, that's not the way forward, because that is just setting us up for disaster by always maybe setting the bar too high. All we want to have is some goals to say, you know what, by the end of this week I want to make a little progress in the zone, or you know, I'm aiming for finishing the weekly home blessing. And remember, I started a little challenge about weekly home blessing yesterday, so if you haven't seen that, go and check that out. I'll put a link up there, and there's a link in the information about this video. Anyway, to get to the questions, I'll answer as many as I can, and I've taken the ones which kind of come up and, you know, again and again, and let's just see how it goes. So I hope you've got your water or coffee ready. So yeah, one of the questions that gets asked a lot, and that I hope I'm covering in my zone videos, is, you know, in the Flylady system we have the house split up into zones, and this week is zone 3, which is the main bathroom and one other room. Week 3 of the month, zone 3, this is the time that we think about all the other weird rooms in the house, like the laundry room, guest bedroom, garden shed, garage, whatever it is, and you're just going to rotate those by month. Now, as I said yesterday in my zone video, you do not need to be, you know, vacuuming your garage or sweeping out your garden shed every single week. You know, be sensible about that. You know, if hopefully you've made your control journal, take out your control journal and you can, you know, write on it. You can plan in there that zone 3, you know, you can print out the lists from Flylady, detailed cleaning lists. You can add add something in there and say, you know what, next time in zone 3, I really need to look at, you know, in the summer, maybe start sweeping out the garden shed. In the winter, you know, if you're coming up for Christmas, maybe you've got guests coming, you want to add the guest room into that. Now, that also goes hand in hand with another question. Oh, hold on a minute, there's a noise outside. Okay, I'm back, no emergency. Yes, that also goes hand in hand with another question about how to fit everything in. And I know that when you first find Flylady, you go on the website, or you maybe see the Flylady's Facebook page, and you see all these things about weekly home blessing, zone cleaning, 27 fling boogies, and you think, well, how on earth am I going to fit it all in? My best advice to you is please don't panic. Please don't panic, because you have been living with this overwhelmed feeling for so long. And you know, we've got to take things slowly. This chaos has built up probably over weeks, perhaps months, perhaps years. That's what happened for me. It was just slowly building and getting out of control. And we're going to make some changes which will change your outlook quite fast, but you can't think that you're going to be doing everything in the Flylady system from day one. And I talked about that in one of my other videos, that you know what, that's really not a problem. The more I work with the Flylady system, you know, and I've been doing Flylady for 12 years consistently, not for 12 years, but now at least the last 5 years consistently, I just see more and more benefits, and things get easier and easier and easier. But I have been raving about the Flylady system for 12 years because it just changes things over time, and it just gets better and better and better. So if you're starting out with the Flylady, if you're a new fly baby, or even if you're an old fly baby and it's never really, you know, you've been implementing some parts, but it's never really, you know, caught hold of you and not bring you back the spark, the joy into your life that you've been missing, go and do the 31 baby steps. Once you're through the 31 baby steps, I would advise adding in the weekly home blessing. Don't worry about zone detail cleaning until you've got that underneath your belt, that you're feeling good with that, and that you're being consistent with your routines. You know, I say it again and again, but if you're consistent with your routines, that makes everything else much easier, because when you're consistent with your routines, you are getting more sleep. You know, you're eating regularly, you're getting dressed to shoes so that you feel ready to tackle jobs. And even when life, you know, throws us problems, and you know what, we have problems in our lives all the time. It's coming from different directions. It can be the kids are small, then parents are getting elderly, somebody gets ill, job changes, you know, upgrade or downgrade where you live. So we always have problems, but the great thing is with the routines that they just help us to stand, you know, upright in the storm. So you get your routines down pat. That's what you do with your 31 baby steps. And if you need help with the routines, remember we did that 7-day challenge where we're just being consistent for 7 days. And then you add in your weekly home blessing. And then after that, once you've got that on the go, then you can start perhaps doing some detailed cleaning. Don't worry about the detailed cleaning right now, because if you're consistent with your routines and a little bit of decluttering every day, remember, 2 minutes on a hot spot, all those things are going to add up, and you're going to feel better, and then you're going to feel more energy because you're getting your sleep, you're looking after yourself, you're taking time to paint your nails or sit down with a cup of coffee and look at the flowers outside. So all those things work together, and then you can add in zone cleaning. You can add in all the other parts. So that was it for how to, don't try and fit it all in at once. You've got to go slowly here, feel comfortable with one aspect, and then add in the next. And don't worry, you'll get there. We all get there in the end. Right, another question, completely different question came up. People are always fascinated about how I got to Denmark. Well, I was working, I'm from Edinburgh, Scotland, and I was working in a firm in Scotland, and I was headhunted by my next boss to work for him as his private assistant, and he was the judge, the British judge at the European Court of Justice in Luxembourg. Hooray, vive l'Europe! And I worked for him for 10 years. He was like a father to me, and I still see him every time I go back to Edinburgh. I go to his house and he gives me a cup of tea. Anyway, I was working for the judge, and I was working for the British judge, and my husband, he arrived in Luxembourg to work for the Danish judge. And a mutual friend of ours who was an Irish friend, an Irish girl, we were all young at the time, she was working for the Irish judge, and she set my husband and I up. She arranged this dinner party, thought we would hit it off. And I had actually spotted him and he had spotted me, and the rest was, you know, love at first sight, you know, rest is history. So I was in Luxembourg for 10 years. My husband arrived there. He was there for 4 years, and then we moved to Denmark and now have 2 kids. So I have a 17-year-old who is in Washington State right now doing a year of American high school. Almost finished. I haven't seen him since September, so it's been really, really tough for me. And I have a 15-year-old daughter who is at school here in Denmark, and the kids, they're both bilingual, Danish, English, and they both speak French as well, because we're very francophone and francophile in our family. So that's it for me and my husband. Right, another question was about ironing. When do you fit in the ironing? Well, if you saw my morning routine video, I do my ironing. I have an ironing board set up down in our basement, close to where the washing machine is and where I hang up our washing. I don't have a tumble dryer, and I iron for 2 or 3 minutes every day as needed. That way it doesn't build up, you know. And I used to hate it when, like about 10 years ago, when I would have this huge pile and I would keep putting it off, and then Sunday afternoons I need to put on a film, though I would watch Stanley Modern Millie, so that was quite fun. But I much prefer just to do a couple of minutes every day, and as I take things out of the washing machine, I put them straight onto hangers, so most stuff doesn't need much ironing at all. So that was it for ironing. And if you need any motivation while ironing, I always like to think that I am ironing the shirts for Frank from the Transporter films. You know, he's always immaculately dressed, and he has this never-ending supply of white shirts. So when I'm ironing, I think of Frank from the Transporter. So there's a little tip for you. So that was it for ironing. Oh yeah, and when we're on the question of clothes, I know everybody keeps on asking, and thank you for your compliments, you know, that I'm always nicely dressed. Where do I get my clothes, and if I can start writing what I'm wearing. I'm not going to start writing down which clothes I'm wearing every day and where they come from, because you know what? Some of the clothes I have had for 20 years, you know, it'll be my jackets that I've maybe been wearing at the Court of Justice in my corporate days. And a lot of my clothes I find in charity shops, and that's where I find a lot of my jewellery. I'm always on, so when I go to the charity shop with my donations, I have a little look, and I'm a real sucker for jewellery. So if you enjoy my jewellery, most of it comes from charity shops. And yeah, and the other thing is I get a lot of my clothes now from clothes swap parties. It's a great way if you're looking to declutter your clothes. You declutter what you're not wearing, have a little, coffee afternoon or coffee and snacks with friends. You all bring a bag of what you're decluttering, you know, accessories, handbags, shoes. You put it, you spread it all out, and everybody gets to go home with something different. That's a great way to declutter your clothes. Moving on to the next one. Oh yeah, time's running. Moving on to the next one. When do you have time to fit in the Flylady system, gardening, washing the car, etc. Well, car maintenance, things like washing the car, in Sweden and hopefully soon in Denmark, it is illegal to wash your car by hand, because you know you get all the bad stuff, all the heavy rain, and so we have to wash in a washing hall. It's called vaskehal. And normally I don't wash the car that often because we have an awful lot of rain here. It's not a huge problem for us, but I wash it, you know, if I'm filling up with petrol on a Friday, if I'm filling it with gas, I will check the car for rubbish, you know, maybe fold, if I've got any rugs in the back of the car, fold those, and occasionally I will run it through the car wash. So just fit it in, you know, put it into your schedule. If you're already out getting gas, go ahead and wash the car at the same time. And gardening, it's the same as I add it in like an extra zone for Flylady. And I split up the garden into, not so much into zones, but tasks. I don't need to do much, obviously, during the winter, but now we're into spring, summer, so I try and spend 5 or 10 minutes every day. And, you know, 5 minutes on one day, I'll maybe look at the weeds on the path in one area, and the next day I will maybe trim the edges of the grass. And then the next day I'll maybe deadhead. You know, some days I'm out in the garden for 5 minutes, other days I'm out for half an hour. You've just got to use the time. If you're out in the garden, enjoying the garden, spend 5 minutes at the beginning of, you know, sitting out in the garden by doing a little task, and 5 minutes at the end. You know, it's the same like when you're working in the office. When you get to the office in the morning, before you switch on the computer, spend 5 minutes tidying one side of your desk, 5 minutes tidying the other side of your desk, and then at the end of the day, when you switch off your computer, spend 5 minutes, you know, filing, adding some more paper to the computer's printer, or sharpening your pencils, or making a list of what you're going to do the next day. So anyway, I better keep it short here because I don't want to go on and on and on. Remember, I am not the oracle. I don't have the answers to everything. These are just suggestions, but if you have any more questions, I'll probably do another question and answer session next week. But I hope that in my other videos that, you know, I don't always have time to answer you individually in the comments. You know, I read all the comments. I don't have time to answer you individually, and I would be a bad mentor if I did, because I really need to separate my time, you know, from doing these things in my spare time and vis-a-vis work. But I answer the questions, I hope, in the next videos that I make, because a lot of them are the same questions that come up again and again and again. So that's it for me, Flylady Diane. I hope you got your coffee, because I should have brought a cup of coffee with me before I started. And I hope you all enjoyed seeing the clock again. I know a lot of you enjoyed my little rabbit clock. It was actually a bunny clock that my daughter had in her room, and then she decided it was a bit too babyish. And I love things like that, so it makes me smile. It makes me feel like there's somebody else here when I am working all alone. So there you go. So Flylady Diane signing off from wonderful Copenhagen, and I shall see you very soon. Live long and prosper. Don't forget your timer and to get dressed to shoes, and see you very soon. Bye for now.